2. Good evening, everyone. We're about to begin this meeting for August 20th, 2024. Before we do, I'm going to stand for a moment of silence and follow that by the Pledge of Allegiance. Anyone who'd like to join me, please feel free to do so. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I hate when that happens. They do it to me all the time. That's you. Yeah. There you go. All right. First item on the agenda is putting my glasses on. I've done that. Next item is roll call. Mr. Johnson, have you got the roll?
I do.
Do we have a quorum, by the way? Yeah, we do. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure.
We do have to.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the regular agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Ms. Hayes, second by Ms. Wise. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Ms. Andrews, second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes, discussion and action regarding the minutes of the July 16th regular meeting. Motion approved by Mr. Wise, second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion and action regarding the minutes of the July 23rd, 2024 special call meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Hayes, second by Ms. Hawkins. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion and action regarding the minutes of the August 13th special called meetings. Motion to approve by Mr. Wise, second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is recognition and hearing of delegations. Recognition. I won't take your thunder. I'll let you go down and tell them what it's about. Mr. Wise.
Yes, Mr. Gregory, White House is represented tonight, well represented. I'm going to ask Case Winiger, still don't know how to pronounce his last name. Come up here with me, young man. Now you can go put your hat on now. I know you're inside, but that's part of your attire, so we want to see you in your professional attire. This is Case Winiger, a 7th grade student at White House Middle School. Now, he has accomplished something that's not necessarily a school thing, but it's a growing up, make you a better citizen thing. And I'm proud of it. If it's digging ditches, if it makes him a better citizen, I'm proud of it. And because I am proud of him, I want to recognize him here tonight. I had his mom to send me an email, tell me a little bit about old Case. He's the 12-year-old son of Jonna and Andy Winiger of Cottontown, Tennessee. They live on a 46-acre horse and cattle farm on South Palmer's Chapel Road. Case has always gone to Sumner County schools. He started kindergarten through 4th grade at H.B. Williams Elementary. And now goes to White House Middle School. I would ask him who his favorite teacher is, but he hasn't gotten to 8th grade history yet, so my son's not his favorite. But when he has him, he'll be his favorite. So Sumner County teachers and staff has always been so supportive of Case as we traveled with the horses, going to horse shows across the country, getting his school assignments prior to leaving and posting assignments on Google Classroom as well. As a family, we compete in barrel races across the southeastern United States at least 30 to 40 weekends a year. We feel his interactions and experiences with people while traveling and competing have developed Case into a well-rounded and respectful young man, grateful for all the opportunities set before him, contributing to making him a better citizen to society. Outside of competing and working on the farm, Case also, Mr. Brewer, got your replacement coming.
Uh-oh.
Case also announces barrel races too. He has his own computer program and sets music to each competitor and announces their name, horse's name, and hometown with time for after competition run. He also plays around with auctioneering a little on the side too. I want to get him to do a little, whatever you call that thing, give you a nickel, a dime, and whatever, a quarter. We can't thank the Sumner County School System enough for recognizing Case's National Barrel Horse Association Youth Division 12 and Under World Championship. He's got a big old belt on.
And those boots, man.
Yeah, when you reach and fall off, you never see the belt from.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice one.
National Barrel Horse Association 2024 World Champion. This young man's a world, not state champion. This dude's a world champion.
All right.
I want to get Mr. Johnson and I want to get his parents to come up. And Mr. Johnson and Director Langford and myself. Not you, Mr. Gregory, you can keep your seat.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Recognition, next item on the agenda is recognition of Liberty Creek High School softball team. Mr. Lancaster looks like he's headed towards the mic.
I think so. Hopefully Mr. Johnson's got enough, points. We'll find out. Y'all come on up here. Everybody in the, So it is my honor to introduce the
But it didn't.
2023-24 Liberty Creek softball team
I don't know, some people can.
who won the state championship in Class 2A. Correct. I always get my A's messed up. But Class 2A state tournament last year, or back in May. So the Liberty Creek softball team concluded their second season with an impressive 29-8-1 record. They faced competition both in and out of the state of Tennessee. They played against top 10 ranked teams from Kentucky and Alabama. Notably, only 2 of the 8 teams that they lost to, or 2 of their 8 losses, were from teams in Tennessee. This challenging schedule prepared them well for the road to state, where they faced tough opponents like Westview, the previous year's state champion, and Alcoa, the state champion from 2 years ago. The Lady Wolves made history with a thrilling 1-0 victory over Huntington in the championship game, securing their first state title. And that was also, what was the other thing about that game that was special? There was a history line. There was some. What was the other neat thing about that game? That was only what? Only perfect game. Okay. I mean, they don't have too many of those. That's why they call it a perfect game, right? Yeah. Okay. The only perfect game in state championship history. And they like the. I think I read today. I was doing some research on y'all a little bit. That the last time somebody threw a perfect game in the state tournament itself was 2016. So it had been 8 years since anybody threw one at all. So let me get back to where I was. These accomplishments were the result of this team's dedication, hard work, and commitment to being the best teammates that they could be. And again, it is my honor to introduce them to you and to congratulate them on representing not only Liberty Creek, but Sumner County as well. So. And if Mr. Johnson has, about 30 coins, we're going to be good.
Thank you.
All right. Step back a little bit and tighten up.
There's always one.
Hey, Alan, what you didn't announce is that this team also, there's three girls on this team whose mom also played on a state. So that's Taylor, Haley, and Wilson.
Coach West.
Okay.
Courtney.
Yeah, okay. At beach. At beach.
We're totally doing that.
Three, we already talked about it, Dawn. Just paying attention.
Nobody say it again. state champions.
If my mic's off.
That's
Hello.
Chairman Brewer.
Miss Hayes.
Yes, Chairman Brewer. Could we have the mothers stand, the three mothers that were state champions and now their daughters are state champions and all played at Beach? Yeah. Woo! That's amazing.
All right, that's fantastic. That's the fun part of this job, getting to recognize people like that. You are welcome to stay. We're fixing to get into the meat of the meeting that is always really, really exciting. So I'm sure that y'all will really enjoy it. But if you would like to leave, we'll give you a couple of minutes to go ahead and leave.
I already told them they could leave as soon as this part was done.
What's that, Tammy?
Take care.
Pass that to Jeremy and see.
I'm not got here late. She's asking me if she can discuss public comments.
Yeah. Hey, Jeremy. Charlene wants to sign up for public comments.
Where's she at? Oh, there she is. Sitting by Don.
She got it.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Charlene Allmiller.
Hang on just a minute. We'll call it back to order.
Not
Just
yet.
give him just a second or two.
So to swear.
Can't hear.
Okay.
Okay, it got quiet. I hear crickets now. So, Ms. Allmiller got here a little bit late. We're still in hearing from delegations, and she has signed up to speak on an agenda item. So, Ms. Allmiller, come on down. State your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak on an agenda item. And so, you're on.
I'm Charlene Allmiller at 143 Roland Circle, Huntersville, Tennessee 37075, and I just wanted to say thank you to all the outgoing board members. Thank you so much for everything that you have done. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate everything that you have done for my kids and my community. Thank you for everything that you have given. And that's all I came to say.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is, scroll back down here. We don't have executive session, so work from the director.
Okay.
Dr. Lane.
Yeah, let me see. I know we have a lot to do tonight to celebrate the ending of some wonderful tenures on the school board, so I'll try to go pretty quickly. I did want to highlight, we had our AP Scholars celebration tonight. I know several of you were here for it, but I wanted to just publicly speak a little bit. Ms. Skinner is out of town tonight, so we have Dr. Darren Kennedy. Dr. Kennedy, so let me tell you about Dr. Kennedy is new to Sumner County, but not new to education. He's an educator, administrator, and currently high school instructional supervisor for Sumner County Schools. He's got over 20 years experience in pre-K through 12th grade education, coaching administrators and teachers on instructional best practices. He's worked hard to enrich the lives of students throughout Tennessee. He began his career teaching 3rd grade and transitioned quickly into administration, demonstrating strong leadership and helping to improve educational resources and opportunities for students grades pre-K and up. For well over a decade, Dr. Kennedy worked with underperforming secondary schools, helping to elevate their performance and transform the culture, creating a more positive and successful environment for students and faculty. Working with secondary schools in the bottom 5% as well as the highest performing schools has given him insight into unique needs, allowing him to cultivate winning strategies. He's a Reward School principal and possesses a decade of experience in secondary education. Using the knowledge acquired throughout his career, Dr. Kennedy helps administrators to develop the core skills and resources to become the leaders who will transform education for years to come. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism from Howard University, Masters of Education and Supervision Administration, and a doctorate degree in instructional leadership from Tennessee State University. We are very blessed to have Dr. Kennedy with us on our team, leading high school. He's a welcome addition and has done tremendous work already in just a month. So Dr. Kennedy, we're very thankful to have you on our team and to get to introduce you to the board. And immediately to his left is Ms. Pamela Sanders. Miss Sanders has a great deal of experience in Robertson County, which we won't hold against her, and then Davidson Academy, and then a couple years ago, if you've been around a little bit, she worked with Paul Decker for many years at Davidson Academy, and she came as an instructional coach a couple years ago, worked at R.T. Fisher, and then moved over to Station Camp High School, and then moved on to as a high school coordinator this year. And then Dr. Kim Germany, Mr. Brewer, you'll like this part. Graduate of the University of Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. And Miss Andrews. Miss Andrews also has a daughter at the University of Alabama.
I'm not ready to say that yet. Anchor down.
Wow, if your choices are Anchor Down and Roll Tide and you go with Anchor Down.
Coach Corbin was a great guy.
He is a great guy. Yeah, okay, baseball. All right, but Dr. Germany, we're so thankful to have her. She has quite a bit of experience in Metro, and then in Louisiana, and then in Shelbyville the last little bit, and we are very thankful to have her. She's done a lot of work, both she and Pamela, on ACT and high performance for our high schools. And I'll say this, like, we have tried the entire time I was instruction and last year to we've had great people work with our high schools. I can already tell, like, we've got a team, and when you put Mariah and Chase and Bobby and all them together, it's the first time we've got a cohesive team for high school in a long time, and we're very excited to see the work that they're going to do. And I also want to celebrate the work that our AP teachers and schools have done. So 2016, we had 100 AP scholars. This year alone, Hendersonville High School had 96 AP scholars. Last year we had 241 AP scholars. This year we had 366. That's a 51.9% increase year over. We had 180 AP scholars, 108 AP scholars with distinction, and 78 AP scholars with honors. As I mentioned, Hendersonville remains the top high school in Sumner County for AP. They had 96 total AP scholars. Mr. Wise, we're not going to brag about this, but White House is number 2 now with 64 AP scholars, and number 1 in the county with 12 capstone diplomas. The capstone diploma is a special program where you do AP research and AP seminar. Basically, kids do an original research project in high school and defend it like you would a dissertation. It's an amazing 2-course sequence, and White House had 12 capstone diplomas this year. Merrill Hyde had 61. Beach High School had 59 AP scholars. We also want to celebrate Gallatin and Portland have really expanded over the last couple of years their AP offerings and hit 83% success rate, pass rates this year. Those are big celebrations. What we have found, and I think this is a testament to our teachers and administrators at the school level and the parents and families, as we've increased the number of students taking AP tests, as we've expanded opportunities for kids to take AP classes, our scores have increased. So it's showing that the culture that's been created to value excellence in our schools is taking off. And if you've ever been to an AP night at Hendersonville High School, you see why. Like, they've forged a community, and oftentimes that carries on even into college. The kids that wind up at the same college support each other even while they're in college. So really excited for the work that we've done in AP. The next frontier for us is to expand opportunity to all students. Right now, I'll just name this because I think when we name this at school board meetings, it sets a goal as our new board comes in. One of our huge goals needs to be to expand our AP offerings to include more students of color, especially males. We've lagged behind there. That starts not in high school, but in middle school, really in elementary school. And we've got to do a better job of identifying all economically disadvantaged students along with students of color to provide more opportunities for them. On average, just some statistics, every AP class that a child takes, usually they see a corresponding jump in their ACT by about 1.25 points. So it's significant to take AP classes. I always told kids when I was a principal, even if you make a 1 or a 2 on the AP exam, you'll make an A when you take that class in college. The rigor is that high, and the performance when they get to college, it prepares them for school. To me, I think I said this upstairs, I think the greatest testament you get as a teacher in high school is when your kids come back from college, wherever they go, and they say, you know what, I was prepared. I know my daughter, when she took, you know, she called me one time and asked for help in calculus, and I had to tell her, you are barking up the wrong tree, you know, unless you're trying to figure out how to overcome the struggle of calculus. But, you know, she called her high school AP teacher, and he helped her with her calculus assignments when she was a freshman in college. And, you know, but she felt prepared as she walked into engineering classes and things like that. And that's the work that our AP teachers and all of our teachers do every day. But tonight's a great night to celebrate the success of our program. We'll have more statistics next month. Ms. Skinner, Dr. Kennedy, their team they're going to share a lot of information about high school. I'll tease you with another thing. We had almost 300 kids that scored over 30 on the ACT this year. So you think we have a little over 2,000 graduates, and nearly 300 scored a 30 plus on the ACT. That's you know, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarship money for our kids. That's great, and that's the work, that's the investment made by the school board, the confidence placed in our principals and teachers and our leadership team. And so I'm very, very thankful for the work done in AP. So Dr. Kennedy and Ms. Sanders and Dr. Germany, thank you for the work that you're doing. Excited to see what the next steps in high school look like. So thank you very much. The rest of my report, we're going to have a groundbreaking. We'll get Renee and Vincie to share with y'all tomorrow, but I wanted to go ahead and get the date on the calendar. We had the request, you know, Chairman Brewer really wanted to do 3 special called meetings before the 31st. But what we did want to do before the 31st was to do a groundbreaking for our athletic facilities. So the 3 football stadiums, we've got August 29th, Beach High School 11:30, Hendersonville High School 1:30, Portland High School 3 o'clock. I'll send you an email. We'll send you an email with this date and time. So it's next Thursday, 11:30, 1:30, and 3. But I'll send you the time and locations. We're gonna, you know, we're still in that process where they're getting bonds and paperwork and moving equipment and figuring out exactly where they're going to start and stuff like that. So the actual work will begin soon. But you know, we'll have shovels and we'll break ground and we'll get ready to. I was looking at the plans today. It's very exciting to see what's coming. I did want to say, you know, just for your information, we discussed when we would open the bids for the Gallatin track, the Station Camp track, for Merrill Hyde, and for North Sumner. We hope for the board to be able to vote to approve the bids to start the process in February. So the bids will be pushed out for the tracks in early January. Talking to Mr. Cromer, our architect, June is when you want to start putting the surface down on a track because of the warm weather days. Same thing with the tennis court. So we want to make sure that they've got time to get because you got to get all the groundwork and everything else done before. So we'll put the bids out in early January. Hopefully, as a board, vote to approve a bid in February and then roll on. So hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll be well into the process of building our tracks. Station Camp, of course, will be the most challenging one because we're still going to play football on that field. So we'll have to figure out the timing on that one. But we hope to begin those track projects, you know, get the bids rolling in January. Mr. Cromer and Mr. Long will be meeting with the schools to put the final design touches and everything like that on the Gallatin track and Station Camp track. Also, North Sumner Elementary, they felt the best time to open that bid was in March because the work that needs to be done will have to take place in the summer just because we don't want to do it while kids are in the building. It'll be noisy, and that's replacing a lot of the windows and then specialty product for the walls and things like that. So it's a good celebration.
Can you take a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just curious, what I don't know if you know the answer to this, but what's the typical timeline on a track, like start to finish or whatever?
I think each one will be a little different. Like I would think Gallatin's will go the fastest because the land's level. You know, it's got a little bit more in it in terms of the lighting and the stadium build, but the track itself, I'll find out that, Mr. Lancaster, what the turnaround time on that is. Station camps will be a little bit more involved, because when I rode around with Coach Bain week before last, we've got to replace the irrigation. Like when he turns on the sprinklers, there's a spot that bubbles up about 5 feet from the track. It doesn't make any sense to spend, $1 million on a track, and then in 3 or 4 years we got to replace it because of the water. So we need to go ahead. Like that field when it was built, I won't go too deeply into football fields, but they need to crown, and then they need to crown up a little bit on the edges. Station camps is almost flat, and so any water just sits there, and where it does drain, it drains right into the track. So we've got to fix while we're there doing it, we need to fix the irrigation and the drainage, and then that'll open us up to repair the track. But yes, I'll get you a timeline on that, Mr. Langish. I meant to ask that today, and I just forgot.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Dr. Langford, is that a separate bid process for the work on can you start that prior to the June, working on the water and drainage and all that?
Yeah, probably. I was thinking like the turnaround time, if you look, like we did something very similar at Gallatin. We slid Gallatin's field over, and they started that process, I think, in May. And if you drive out that way tonight out the back, you'll see that the football field looks great, and better than it's looked in a while. And there's going to be a safe amount of space on the sideline, as opposed to what we've had. They fixed the part where about a year ago that my wife found the storm drain at the Gallatin football stadium, and yeah, she was the first injury of Friday night football last year. She got to, if you know her, she's not real big on crowds, and she had to ride out on a stretcher in front of the Gallatin football section. And she didn't give a thumbs up or anything. I had to coach her on how you respond to an injury. But they've repaired that. The Gallatin Stadium, we have Andy's team and some contractors. They've sandblasted everything underneath the stadium. That railroad steel is amazing. Like it would last 10 million years. You just have to knock the surface rust off of it. But they've sealed it. Painted underneath. They've sanded and painted the guardrails. Gallatin Quarterback Club has done, or the handrails. Gallatin Quarterback Club has done a lot of work. It looks really good. We're very, very pleased with that stadium. So yeah, and then on a note, just I'm gonna have to talk to Mayor Isbell today. The Brown Park. Last night there was a vote in Committee on Committees to dissolve the Parks Board. The Parks Board is part of the requirement for the $625,000 grant for the Brown Park. So what's at stake, I'll probably try to communicate something out to you by email tonight or in the morning. What's at stake is there's $500,000 in the Brown Trust that Mr. Brown designated in his estate to build a park in memory of him and his wife, he and his wife. There was a $625,000 grant from the state of Tennessee through TDEC to give us $1.125 million. And so the design fees, I think it's about $185,000 in design fees have already been paid. What that includes, it's most important for Sumner County beyond just the park and honor meeting Mr. Brown's wishes, is there's a full cross-country course that's part of that. Currently in Sumner County we have one, and that's in Walton Ferry. It's tucked away in the back of the peninsula. We have 300 high school cross-country athletes right now, probably another 300 middle school, and then I would guess probably double that number in elementary. Cross-country is really popular in our elementary schools, and there are, and you know, when you host a cross-country meet, you get folks from other counties as well. So an additional cross-country course is a big deal for us in terms of expanding our offerings for athletic facilities. So we're gonna communicate out next steps for that, but we're very much at risk of losing that $625,000. All right, and I mentioned tracks.
Ms. Andrews?
Remind me to when that $625,000, when did you say it expires? It has to be spent by in a year or something?
I think it's May of 25. But the problem is the process has to be, I think the park has to basically be done.
Right, but there are plans. I mean, I know several years ago when the Parks Board was originally put together, I know specifically Dr. Reynolds, who is principal at Liberty Creek Elementary, and students were part of that plan.
Yes.
And I believe they even brought students when Liberty Creek Elementary opened, they brought those students in to help develop those plans and stuff like that. And the plans are great. I know part of that too is having a pavilion, as you talked about, with you know, the cross country course. That is something I will never forget. When Liberty Creek was literally dirt and ruts, Dr. Phillips took me and my daughter around on a UTV, and you know, we discussed it. We talked like, hey, where's the cross country course? Because as you said, there's only one. It's Saunders Ferry, and if you know anything about Saunders Ferry, it's one way in, one way out. Parking is challenging. This weekend, Beach High School is hosting 2,100 runners. That doesn't include their families. So to have that is definitely something that the cross country families have looked forward to be on that campus, to have the parking, to have a course that's different. We've historically also hosted the state meet here in Sumner County. I know there was a pavilion that was included with that, which would help with, you know, award ceremonies and so forth. So it is disappointing to hear that Parks Board and the work that those who were on the board, I can't remember who everybody was on there, but I know there was a host from ranges of different people. I don't believe it was anybody that was actually on the school board that did that, but it was citizens that gave their input. It would be very discouraging to see that go to the wayside. So I hope that is something that's being reconsidered. So if you can share any information with us so that we can hopefully have that be reconsidered sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I may have missed this. Did you say that there were plans to bid out for the Merrill High tennis courts?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know that I said it. I meant the 2 tracks in the Merrill High tennis courts. We will issue the bids in early January and hopefully vote as a board at our February 18th board meeting. And then North Sumner would follow in March. And that's because you try to tie the contracts to when the actual construction begins so that you don't catch inflated pricing because they look at what they think their materials are going to cost. Yes, just a few more things. We've voted already on adding a section of rental bleachers at Hendersonville and Beach. Beach had their Meet the Bucks night, and it was full. This will also allow cheerleaders to be able to cheer in front of the crowd, which hasn't happened in a year. Hendersonville had the same thing at graduation, and then again at their scrimmages. It's tight, and adding the extra section of bleachers will make it safer. I've heard from several people that the bleachers are really nice to sit in. They're going to work well this year. And I have heard that the Portland bathroom is top notch. I've had more conversations with folks from Portland about the bathrooms. Every time they're at the game, I text them and I say, "How's the bathrooms?" And they say, "It's wonderful." Yeah,
One
it's
of the few air-conditioned places at Portland.
yeah. People were probably hanging out in the air-conditioned bathroom because it was about 9 million degrees the other night. Yeah, and along that line, football kicks off. Portland and White House play Thursday night. Gallatin and Hendersonville Friday night. Beach and Station Camp. Liberty Creek plays East Robertson. Westmoreland plays Macon County on Saturday night. So football kicks off in earnest. It's hard to believe that we're already here. But it'll be a fun weekend of football for everybody. If you get a chance, it's kind of cool to travel around and see the traditions at each of the schools. It's really a neat thing. And then just to give you a brief, quick overview, the opening of school has really gone very smoothly. I know we're far enough in; it's no longer opening. So yeah, nothing jinxes it like saying opening a school has gone smoothly, but I haven't quite been out in schools as much as I was last year. I'm hoping next week to begin to be able to get out a whole lot more, but I have been in about 12 schools so far, and it's so exciting to see the kids back in classrooms, see the teachers, the principals, just to see the whole school community, and then just the support staff. We've already had Ms. Herring 2 or 3, 4 pretty big medical needs right off the bat, and our nurses were able to respond immediately, and thankful for our support team. And
We've actually had
15 emergencies so far. I met with a group, the Hendersonville Rotary Club, this morning, and they were asking what are the biggest challenges that we see post-COVID, and I told them, I was like, probably the biggest that we're seeing now is the number of children that are at 3 that are being tested for that we're testing for special education services, and that percentage of kids qualifying has jumped from 44% to about 70%. And then the next thing is the number of kids with acute medical needs. The number of kids coming with type 1 diabetes and other chronic illnesses is increasing dramatically. So that's still on the horizon, and we're still obviously seeing that as we begin this school year. But our teachers and principals are really doing an amazing job. I'm very, very thankful for them. And that's, Mr. Brewer, that's all I have for tonight.
All right, thank you, Dr. Langford. Moving right along, next item on the agenda is new business, discussion and interaction regarding the reduction of retainage for White House Intermediate Schools. Motion by Mr. Lancaster, second by Mr. King. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion and interaction regarding policy 3.219, use of unmanned aircraft systems.
Motion
first
to approve
reading.
and waive second reading.
Motion to
Approve and waive second reading.
Second.
Motion to approve and waive second reading. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Lancaster.
She beat me to it. No, this is something I've been trying to get for a couple of years now because I go to a lot of mid-state or Middle Tennessee football games and other sporting events, and I always see drones, and I was like, I remember asking Dr. Phillips, like, why do I not see drones on our side, during the games and whatever match, it's an advantage, to see what the other team is doing and kind of coach your players up. And he's like, well, we've got a rule against it in Sumner County. And I was like, oh, we need to fix that. So I'm glad to see this is, kind of going out. I think there was a safety concern at one time, when drones originally came out, they were huge, and now they're like tiny, and football players have a helmet on, and but soccer, everything. So I'm glad this is going in.
I think one of the most entertaining things, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, White House and Portland were playing, and the traffic, it was at Portland, and the traffic was an absolute mess. And I think we had just sent out that thing like no drones at games. And I'm standing there by Dr. Woods, and we look up, and there's a drone like right over the 50-yard line. And he looked at me and said, that's not ours, that's not ours, that's not us. And there was a fan that couldn't get into the game because of the traffic, and they just flew their drone over the stadium, saved themselves $7, and they were standing across the street watching the game on their iPad. And we didn't really have any anti-drone defenses to stop pirating football games, but that'll probably be the next thing is drone wars. But we've had a lot of schools ask about this. I can say, like when I was coaching football, we had there was a new innovation called a high pod, which was a camera that you put on a 30-foot pole, and you ran it up, and I was in charge of the high pod. And after toting the high pod around for 3 years, like just having the drone would be a whole lot. It's pretty remarkable if you see what they do with football film now. You can tether those things, and it dumps it into Huddle, and you can see all the different images of the game. It's like what high schools do now in football looks like what the NFL did 10 years ago.
Ms. Hayes.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. Reading through the policy, I think it's wonderful, much needed. So, HHS wants to have a drone. Mm-hmm. They get permission, the coaches. Mm-hmm. They're just, what's the game? Can the opposing team ask for permission? They can do the same thing. Mm-hmm. How do you police this when Joe Smith decides he wants to put his drone over? So how do you identify the drone and police this policy?
Next month, we're going to have to invest in air defense artillery. It's,
no,
we're going to have to get some of those jamming frequencies or something. No,
I just always wonder, how do you police the policy?
I think that there's going to, but I think that it's already started happening anyway. I mean, I've been at games where somebody was flying one up really high, and you could see the little red dot, and you had no idea where the person was.
So how do you identify this, and is there punishment by law?
Yeah, I think if we found somebody that was running a rogue drone, we would probably, just like we would if somebody came in acted belligerently, and we would just ban them if they continued to do it. We would probably, I mean, I think we would probably warn them once, and then, you know, have them removed from the game. I mean, the good thing is you can usually find it because somebody's standing there somewhere with an iPad or something directing the drone.
So do you follow the drone back to its landing place?
Probably. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
I mean, I just, how do you?
I mean, if you're
gonna do it, we gotta catch them.
if you're in the northern part, somebody's probably got a shotgun. The thing's coming down.
Exactly. Still say.
I am joking, Katie, wherever you are. I'm not suggesting that as our anti-drone defense, but
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, sir.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes.
I don't have a great answer for that, Ms. Hayes.
Mr. Lancaster?
Yeah, the only thing I would, you know, maybe amend at one point is you can't use it to, you know, badmouth the officials and point out that they made a mistake, because I've had that happen before too. Like, you know, there was not a hold on that
They
car.
were-
You know, here's
they
the
were-
footage, and I'm like,
They were doing that long before drones.
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Lancaster. Mr. King?
Yeah, I'm just curious if you're at an event, and is there some limit as to how many drones can be used by those that are, allowed to use them? So if you got staff members, students, coaches, sponsors, parents,
Yeah.
representing districts, so let's say they all have a drone, what's going to happen at that point?
Yeah.
I mean, I could see some drones crashing over the game, and
Yeah.
I mean, just, how is that going to be regulated? Are they going to apply for a permit or some kind of, I mean, what's going to, guide that process?
Yeah, so Dr. Sarver, our new county AD, he's working, this is more than just sports, and especially football. This is for drone usage. As you notice, like a lot of our school, like in 2 or 3 years, every high school will probably have a drone program because it's popular, and it's stuff like, I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was the use of drones now in agriculture. So it's going to become a part of FFA classes. You're going to see it in not just in an aviation program like Liberty Creek, but there are so many different applications for drones. You're going to see it. So what we are looking at is not a policy for football, but a procedure. And so I believe we can send you the actual form that Dr. Sarver is putting together. But basically, a team can't have more than 2 and no one else. So you can't have you can have 2 drones total. So you can't have a cheer drone, a band drone. They'll have to work that out at the school. That'll be the school's decision on how they do that. And then, I've already talked to some folks, and you can take 4 drones and put them up and tether them, and they shoot different parts of the field. We're going to start with 2 and really kind of figure out what our policy is going to be. And then, this policy provides guidance for things like what are we doing when we have drones used on school campuses for parts of classes and things like that, just to specify what those rules are. But I think, Mr. King, it would be something that we would start with our athletic directors and principals determining who's going to be able to fly drones at the game. So, because you'll see different uses. It's pretty crazy. Like if you watch a track meet, they can lock on a kid with the drone, and it's amazing video footage. Like they'll follow them all the way around the track. It's pretty remarkable to watch. But I can see though where and I think it should encourage collaboration, because I can see where if I'm the band director and we're performing our halftime show, I would love to have a drone shot of that to be able to see. I don't think high school bands used a lot of film in prepping, but you'd be able to see where everybody was in the program and everything. I can see a lot of uses for that as well.
All right. Seeing no other discussion, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, unfinished business, discussion and interaction regarding revision to policy 4.600, grading system upon second reading. Is there a motion? Motion approved by Ms. Andrews, second by Ms. Hayes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Mr. King?
I'm just curious, how long have we been doing the elementary number system? Have we not employed, this is the first time we're implementing this, or has it been?
By the numbers, you mean the standards-based or?
Right, yeah. So assessment, elementary grading system, the assessment for, 1 through 3.
What's that, Jim? Yeah, the answer to that question is I believe that the standards-based report card began in 2015 or 16,
Okay.
and we've made a lot of changes. Now we're down to third grade, I believe, where we're giving a numerical grade like what we had.
Okay.
I think you'll see the kindergarten report card that Ms. Skinner's team's developed has. It's moved away from a standards-based approach to a skills-based approach. So the whole point of a report card is to communicate to parents what their children know and what they're learning. And so if you look at that report card, it's got some professional things like looks people in the eye, shakes hands, things like that, some professional skills, but then also knows consonants, knows vowels, because the whole point is to communicate to parents that you can have a conversation about how we mutually support each other. I believe the plan is to roll that up, so next year there'll be a first grade and then a second grade. So I think you'll see a continuing shift. The changes on this policy were middle school,
Okay.
and it's the calculation of the exam average, pull the exam average out.
Thank you, Mr. King. All right, we have a motion and a second, I believe, don't we?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion and action regarding amendments to the general purpose budget. Is there a motion approved by Mr. Wise, second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion? Mr. King?
Yeah, I think it's, let's see which one it is. Number 3, I guess.
Says that the September, let's see, PSSG.
Yeah, it's hard. So, yeah,
Appropriation.
number 4 and 5. Yeah, PSSG BA number 4 and 5.
Okay.
That's the one I'm looking at.
Yes.
This is the public security appropriation, and I'm just curious about this. This was from a grant. Is that correct? These items look like they're being funded from it's carryover from a safety grant we got from the state. Is that correct?
Yes. Hey, you got to hit your.
Okay.
And Katie Brown isn't here, but it's a public
Okay.
school safety grant carryover from the Tennessee Department of Education.
Okay, and that includes the security film, windows and doors. Is that correct?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
I just want to get clarification on that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Mr. King? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion and action regarding amendments to the federal budget.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved, Mr. King. Second by Mr. Lacy. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, discussion of study session items. Mr. Johnson?
So our next study session will begin with swearing in our new school board members, and we got a list of policies we've been working through that we'll be presenting to you in study session.
All right. Next item is communication from board members. Mr. Johnson, you and I discussed what we were going to do differently tonight, and I have forgotten it. Could you remind me?
We're going to start, we were going to have all remaining board members go, and then we're going to go to class.
Okay. All right. All the remaining board members, we'll start with Mr. Lacy, since I looked over there at you. So.
I went to a few schools Friday, but I did go to North Southern.
And the ladies in the cafeteria were extremely excited for the new kitchen equipment that they received, and they were very thankful for what they have.
Thank you, Mr. Lacy. Mr. Daniels?
Yeah, I just want to thank our retiring board members. I've served with most of them for 8 to 14 years now. 16. You start two before me, so I got 2 more years there. But they've been through a lot from 2012 to hiring 2 directors in the past 10 years. It's they've done a lot to help build this county and our school system, and many of the improvements from removing portables to the building programs to new campuses. They've been instrumental and helping us advance and grow our school system to where it is today. So I just want to take a second and thank you all for your service. I know it hasn't always been easy. There's been a lot of criticism, both in person and online, and a lot of abuse that you sometimes take. And that's all of us. But I appreciate your willingness to serve and the dedication that you've given to our students, our community, our staff. And you'll be remembered for the great things that you've done. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Mr. King? Mr. Lancaster?
I guess to piggyback off Mr. Daniels, just I've not been around as long as he has, and any of y'all have, but it's been a pleasure to work with you all that are leaving and get to know you, and look forward to starting the process over with some new folks come September. So some of them I think got several of them out there in attendance. So other than that, it has been a pretty easy start to the school year compared to we haven't had anything fall down yet.
Let the record reflect who jinxed us.
I knocked on wood, or at least a solid veneer. And other than that, like I say, football kicks off Thursday night, and football is not just football. I mean, it is football, but it's cheer, it's dance team, it's band, it's students going and traveling, and so at this time, just of year, just always please be careful, be cautious, and pray that our students and their families, traveling back and forth to games, everybody has a great time, but remain safe. So other than that, I'll go to
Mr. Lancaster, Ms. Hayes.
Yes. There you go. Thank you, Chairman Brewer. It was a great night with the AP recognition. I am so grateful for the leadership, for these AP scholars, and the program that has developed across this county, and the numbers of students now that are getting 5s on multiple AP exams. So thank you to all those AP teachers who inspire, who encourage, who challenge their students to rise to the occasion, and they do it. They're amazing. These kids are involved in multiple things. They're just not the AP scholars. Looking at the HHS students, we've got kids, and I know this is represented from all the high schools. They are in athletics, they are in the arts, and they are strong academic students. So I'm just grateful for the work that we've done in this county to do this. I'm glad that Mr. Daniels got here. I'll see you Friday night. Okay. I know that Miss Andrews and I have had a bit of a tradition in the past. So, Mr. Daniels, if HHS wins, when HHS wins, would you make a donation to the quarterback club? And if Gallatin wins, I'll make a donation to the Gallatin quarterback club.
Absolutely. We look forward to your donation.
Let the minutes record that this is on. So, little fun, little competition, little fun. So, I'm afraid if I start, I'll start crying. Thank you, the board members that have served with dedication, with wisdom. When I came on the board in 2014, I was welcomed with open arms, showed me the way. My first meeting was with Jeremy, who kind of gave me that overview orientation. But I thank you, and I thank you for the bond of relationship that we have. When you go through challenging times, some hard things, when I thought a school rezone was the most challenging thing we were going to do, COVID hit, and then I thought, well, it can't get worse than COVID. But I tell you, this team has worked together through thick and thin, and you build a very strong bond when you go through very challenging times and having to make decisions that affect the lives of our employees and our students. So I appreciate you, the service that you have given to this county, to the students of this county, to the employees of this county. You represent the best of the best. So I'm going to miss you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes. One of my favorite quotes in one of the movies was, "There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in school boards." I'm sorry, y'all have no idea what goes through in this mind. I don't want you to know. If you only knew, y'all be rolling in the aisles, I assure you. I crack myself up. Anyway, we're going to do the plaques, and then we're going to come back.
So we'll do the plaques and then give out the plaques to each board member.
So we're going to turn it over to Dr. Langford and do that, and then don't leave, because we'll come back to the ones that haven't got to speak. We'll get to speak before we go, and I'm going to go the one that's been on the least. On the least.
I think he wanted me to do some presenting before we start with the speeches.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So,
Dr. Langford.
So Jeremy worked with everybody to pull together some stats. So starting with Mr. Gregory, who's been here the longest, all the way through to Mr. Graham. So just some of the highlights from the tenure of Sumner County Schools. I would say to start, I think Mr. Gregory, you started in 2006, and Mr. Wise and Mr. Brewer started in 2008. So I came back to Sumner County in 2009. And the first thing that I discovered is we had to do fundraisers constantly to buy copy paper. We had 85 to 100 portables. We delayed the start of school in 2012 to increase school funding. At that point, we were paying our classified employees $7.29 an hour on average. Starting teacher pay was $33,085. Since that time, we've increased classified employee to a minimum of $16 per hour. We've increased starting teacher pay to $47,800, and we will very soon be at $50,000. I didn't make over $50,000 until I was an assistant principal. I don't think my mother ever made anywhere near $50,000 as a retired Sumner County teacher. We've come a long, long way on compensation. We've invested $235 million on new school construction and renovation of 27 existing schools. We've eliminated over 70 portables used as classrooms. We've built 7 new schools: William Burris Elementary, Liberty Creek Elementary, Liberty Creek Middle, Liberty Creek High, Knox Doss Middle, Station Camp Elementary, and White House Intermediate School. We've placed a school resource officer in each school. We've made security renovations to each school entrance. There's a registered nurse in each school. There are AEDs in all schools, which has saved the lives of several folks. Academically, 63 reward schools, 13 STEM schools, 1 STEM high school, over 30 career technical education pathways, which is #1 in Tennessee. #1 percentage-wise for STEM schools. Our graduation rate has increased from 89% in 2011 to next year. We're still filing some appeals. Graduation rate lags a year, but our graduation rate should be over 97%. 2016 was the earliest year I could find numbers for AP scholars. We've gone from 100 to 366. To give you perspective, Mr. Wise, when I started teaching at White House in 2009, I was the only AP teacher. I had 9 kids in my classroom. White House had 64 AP scholars this year. That's how it's taken off, and that percentage growth is the same at each of our schools. Addition of the AP Capstone Diploma at 4 high schools, 2 Blue Ribbon schools, We're Tennessee Department of Education Reading 360 District. We created the Middle College Sumner County and Middle College Technical. We were Tennessee Department of Education Exemplary School District once. We were the 2020 TSBA School Board of the Year. We were the 2023 Award for Excellence in Education Programs for TSBA for STEM and robotics. When y'all started, we spent $20,000 as a district on technology. And last year we went 1-to-1 with iPads in grades 6 through 12. One of the largest districts that are an iPad district in secondary that's 1-to-1. We've been nationally recognized for student achievement, for literacy, for our foundational and knowledge building work. Math, we were recognized in the Philadelphia Inquirer and the Hetzinger Report this year. Instructional coaching, every building. We're not quite 1-to-1 on instructional coaches, but we're close. The investments that y'all have made, you know, education is planting acorns. And the acorns that you have planted and the saplings and the trees that have grown will be felt for generations and generations to come. The things that you have done are just incredible. And I think, like, I was going to talk individually, but like Ms. Hayes, I don't think I'll be able to do it. I'm going to try, but I think then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brewer and let him do the last comments for everybody. Mr. Gregory, yep, I know I'm not going to make it. Mr. Gregory, there's not a more fierce advocate for Portland and for Sumner County. There's not anyone more devoted to the students of Sumner County. You check on people, you go to your schools, but you don't just go to your schools, you're concerned about everybody else. You spend a significant amount of your time concerned that White House was getting kids from Robertson County. You had to change board policy. White House football has never been the same since you did that, Mr. Gregory. But we never took that many from Robertson County, just enough. You know, you've always been devoted to students and to doing the right thing and to calling on the board and the community to do the right thing. I'm going to miss you every board meeting. It's going to be hard to look at that. I know Penny is going to do a tremendous job, but it's big shoes to fill. Thank you, not just for your service as a board member, but your service as a principal, a teacher, and an educational leader in Sumner County. We can't give you enough thanks for the work that you've done since 2006 on the school board. Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Mr. Wise, there's so many great stories I could tell about you. Most of them I won't. I think the funniest one is the time that you almost got me crossways with Dr. Phillips, because I don't know if you remember this, but you asked me to do research on why we didn't need the football stadium in White House. And Dr. Phillips was very committed to us taking that football stadium. And I can remember him saying, who gathered all this evidence? And I was like, please, Mr. Wise, don't. I will always be an assistant principal at White House Middle School. But you covered for me. You didn't out me. But I think back to the many years of watching you support, again, like Mr. Gregory, not just White House schools, but all the schools in Sumner County. I remember watching your passion to make sure that every child ate lunch every day. Your passion, even most recently bringing peanut butter for the Family Resource Center. Making sure that every child, whether it's through the Rotary Club or out of your own pocket, to make sure that every child that ever had a want in our school system got what they needed, and your support for that. You sat for the kids over there on your monitor, and you have truly proven it every step of the way for the kids. As a principal, I always respected you tremendously because you never came into the school. You came in and you advocated for your constituents that had reached out to you, but you were always willing to listen and try to understand first why we did what we did. And sometimes we agreed, most of the time we agreed, sometimes we disagreed, but we could always have a conversation about it. And I never once, as a principal, didn't feel your support, and not just your support, but your love, and the phone calls and the texts and everything else, just to encourage me and to encourage everyone else. Your heart is pure, and thank you for your service. Ms. Hawkins, when I started in educational leadership, I had the opportunity to present to a group, and I'll never forget that it was not the easiest outing, and it was a tough room. And I remember that Jim sent me a note after thanking me for being committed to lifting the standards for students and for being committed to education in Sumner County. He was such a profound blessing to our county in so many ways. And I know it was not easy at the time that you stepped onto the school board to do that. And you did it. And then you ran for re-election. And you took as many shots as anybody in the history of Sumner County politics to sit in that seat. And you've done it with such dignity, and you have advocated, you've asked tough questions, you've pushed us to be better, and you have invested in academics, fine arts, athletics, everything that we've done. You know, you're at graduations, you're supporting community members, and you reflect just the heart of Gallatin and the heart of your district and the heart of Sumner County. So thank you so much for your service. Yep, gets tougher, Sarah. You know, Sarah, sometimes we don't agree. I gently describe my position, and you gently respond in kind. We always wind up good. 99% of the time you admit that I was right. You'll have your time to speak in just a minute. No, but you know, from everything from, I can remember in 2012 sitting in the chambers at the county commission, reflecting on the fact that my whole life had been governed by the same political battle. And it was, we're going to not run the buses, we're not going to play football, we're going to shut down schools, we're going to do this because we need an extra $100,000 for paper, we need to hire 2 teachers. We had always taken the scraps that were left on the table. And you were part of a group that identified that we were not going to accept that we wanted the very best for our kids. And, you know, just ferociously attacked that. One time when I was up for election, it was 35 degrees on early voting, and I had to stay there for 7 hours because you wouldn't go home. I had planned to stay an hour, and I had planned to say, if the 13 people that voted today don't vote for me, I'll surrender those 13 votes. But I had to stay out there because you stayed there all day, because you saw what we needed to do as a county. And you've brought a mother's vision and heart and fight to that school board seat, and you have represented your community well. And Sumner County will benefit, not just your kids, but all the kids of Sumner County, for the work that you've done, your willingness to stand firm, to push us all to be better. I'm deeply thankful for your friendship and for your support and for the work that you've done as a school board member. And Mr. Brewer, like Mr. Wise and Mr. Gregory, I don't think anybody else here knows what those early days on the school board were like. You know, 3 directors and some tough transitions. And as chair, no one appreciates how challenging it is to serve as chair. I talked to Mr. Hyde about it several times over the last couple of years as he's been chair of the county commission. He always offers me the gavel back every time I walk over, and I was like, you couldn't give me that gavel if you paid me. You got it and you willed it, because the only people you make angrier as chair than your adversaries are your friends, because you have to run a meeting and keep good order and allow everybody the opportunity to express their opinions. And you know, I think when we think of you, Mr. Brewer, your faith is deeply important to you, and you have always executed yourself as a man of great compassion and great love and great faith, and you have poured that into the schools. You've always had the back and supported our principals, our teachers, even when it was hard for you personally. You've done that because you saw your role as representing your school district and all of your school district. I think the thing that I love most about you that I'm going to miss, other than Alabama football, is you're probably the only other person besides me that can quote almost the entire movie of Josie Wales. And you know, and all kidding aside, and like Mr. Wales, when you latch onto a fight, you never back down, and you fight fiercely for what you believe in. And you know, whether that was in the early years or over the last couple of years of steering us through, it's tough to go through a director transition. And y'all have done it twice, and you've done it twice. And as chair, you have steered us through that transition so well. And we're deeply, deeply appreciative for you and for your service to Sumner County. So thank you. Thank you.
All right. So, are you whispering something? Continue. Okay. So we're going to go from the one that's been on the board the least amount of time, all the way up to the one who's been on the board the most amount of time, with the exception of the chair does go last. So, Miss Betsy, I think that would be you. You start with you.
Okay. Thank you for the kind words. Dr. Langford, reading off all those numbers, seems to be there are a lot of numbers going through my head tonight. One is today is Jim's birthday, and he would have been 68 years old today. He served 3 years on this board, sitting in District 6, and it was a leap of faith for me to ask to finish his term, to finish the job that he had started. And I'm so thankful that the County Commission allowed me to do that. And then District 6 constituents elected me to sit here for another 4 years. So Jim and I together have 8 years. And then I am reminded that his father, James W. Hawkins, sat in this chair for 28 years. Representing the good people of District 6. So for a total of 36 years, A. Hawkins has sat in this seat. And when you're reading off all those good things, I like to think that Hawkins had a little bit to do with that. I am proud to be a Hawkins. I am proud to be part of that family and that legacy here in Sumner County. I have been going through books because the Hawkins family collects books, and I'm trying to diminish and go through and try to let those books find new homes. And yesterday I was actually going through some of Jim's old college books from, I would say, 1976, when he was taking secondary education classes at Center College. And as I do with all the books, I turn them upside down and flip them because make sure there aren't any bookmarks or anything. Well, one of these education books I turned upside down, and it just literally snowed little notes like this. I would say there were probably about 50 or 60 notes that came out. And it was how Jim had taken notes while he was reading these books. And I just happened to pick one up and look at it. The rest I just threw away. I couldn't look. But one I did stop and just look at, and it happened to be so poignant. And you mentioned talking about planting oaks and watching those, what we plant now we see develop and grow and become productive parts of our community. That's the whole goal. But just this note in Jim's handwriting from probably 1976 on what looks like old card catalog notes. It says, function of public school, discovery of each child's gift. And I thought that was just so wonderfully and well put, so succinct, and yet that is what we offer each child. It's what was offered to me as a child, is the resources to go on an exploration to find your specific personal gift. And what a joy it is when you find that. And so it has been an honor and a privilege to serve here on this board. And I am thankful to Sumner County for allowing me this privilege. And I will miss you all. Thank you very much.
Ms. Andrews.
You know, normally I like to just shoot from the hip, but I did actually prepare something to say tonight. For the past 8 years, it's been my pleasure to serve on the Sumner County School Board, representing the residents of District 4, as well as all families of Sumner County. Over the course of my tenure, there have been many challenging times, from rezoning to COVID to capital projects to changes in state law and funding. It seems like there was always something new around the corner to work through. But during the same time, there have also been times of celebration, from opening new schools to increasing compensation to state, national, and international accolades to increasing opportunities for our students. It has been an exciting time. As I close this chapter and pass the baton to the next cohort, I want to say thank you to the principals, teachers, staff, and friends that have supported me over the years. The ones who have allowed me to ask the tough questions, who have confided in me, given me a different perspective. Your input has shaped many of the decisions I have made. To my fellow board members, we've done good work together. It wasn't always easy, but it was always worth it. I'll look back on my time. I'll look back on our time together with gratitude that you are the ones that I walked the journey with. To my family, you've endured more than most relatives. You've given me grace as I've spent hours on the phone and online, nights away at meetings, and prolonged shopping trips when I run into someone with a question. I hope more than anything that you're proud of me and the work I did while serving. I look forward to being available to you more. To Shelley, Wade, Greg, Megan, Kathy, and Penny, tag you're it. There's been a firm foundation set before you. As the saying goes, the way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. The previous board has made significant progress in eating the proverbial elephant, and there's still work to be done. I believe in you and look forward to the decisions you make to continue to ensure Sumner County is the best school district in the state. Some days will be easier than others, and on those hard days, I'm a phone call away. Thank you, Sumner County, for the opportunity to serve. The friends and memories I have made are priceless. We are better today than we were 8 years ago, and I truly believe we'll be even better 8 years from now. Let's keep working together, taking the next bite, and building an even better future for our kids.
Ms. Andrews, Mr. Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wrote a book. I'll be selling them out in the foyer after the meeting for $19.95. Fortunately, it's a small book. September 1, 2008, August 31, so I'm not through yet. 2024, 16 years. I'm not going to make this about me, and I'm not going to make this about the last 16 years, though I will say that it's one of the most rewarding experiences I have ever had in my entire life. And I got to tell this story. there were two gentlemen, a little over 16 years ago, that met me at the Cracker Barrel in White House for a cup of coffee. One of those gentlemen is in the room tonight. I won't call his name, but they requested that my friend Bob Pospisil set up I don't know if it was lunch or coffee. I think it was just coffee, whatever. And so they wanted to have conversation with me. And their desires at that time were not exactly what mine were. And the more they talked to me, the more ticked off I became. And I finally, I see that big grin on that face back there. I finally just had to tell them, I really thank y'all for coming up here, but you know, sometimes I just get that old linebacker mentality. Dadgummit, I will. They encouraged me to try harder, to win. I had no clue what I was doing anyway. I never ran for anything. I've ran from some things, but I've never ran for anything, so I didn't know what I was doing anyway. And these two guys who know everything came all the way up to White House from Gallatin, I guess, Hendersonville, wherever, and thought it would be a good idea if I kind of held off and not run. I had other thoughts. But anyway, I wanted to share that experience with you. I will never get over the relationships that have been built in my 16 years of trying to serve Sumner County and specifically the 8th School Board District. It's about relationships. It really is about relationships. Merle Hyde came to me about 15 and a half years ago and suggested that the county commission and the school board have coffee, break bread, have lunch together, something like that. So I thought about that years ago, Sarah, and I thought, you know, that I don't know all of the county, some of them I don't even know their name. I know all the board members' names, but I don't really know. I didn't know Tim Brewer at that time. I do now. But I thought, you know, that's a really good idea. So I said, from this seat, I said, Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be at the Gallatin Cracker Barrel. Anybody from this board that wants to join me and anybody from the county commission that wants to join me, please feel free to do so. What you eat's on you. I'm not buying. One rule, we don't talk politics. We just get to know each other. Had about 20 to show up. Good representation from the board, good representation from the county commission, and that started something. As a matter of fact, Paul Decker's name was mentioned earlier. Paul Decker came to me after that and said, you know, this is really a good idea, and we've been talking, we think it'd be good if we had this in our schools. Great idea. And I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll schedule them, I'll set it up at the schools, and we'll have lunch, and we'll eat what the kids eat. I thought, with that won't last but about 2 lunches, but it kept on, and it kept on, and it kept on. And I really, really believe it helped because it built relationships. How can you do business with somebody that you don't have a clue who they are? I can't. I've made friends that will last a lifetime. I told you I wrote a book. And I use shorthand, by the way. But what I do want to say is, thank you Sumner County, thank you District 8 for letting me represent you, for letting me be a part of the best school system in the state of Tennessee. Now I've got to turn the page here in my book. That'll be on sale out front for $19.95. I want to issue some challenges. And I am so glad to turn this chair over to Miss Breening. she's going to do an absolutely wonderful job. The IQ sitting in this chair just went through the roof. Y'all, I know y'all will agree with that. Here's my challenges, Dr. Langford, leadership of the school system. Number one challenge. Number one, Megan Brenning, keep the Family Resource Center a very top priority. Keep the Family Resource Center a very top priority. Number two, continue the practice of being sure no child in Sumner County Schools goes a day unfed. Number two, be sure to continue the practice that no child in Sumner County School goes a day without being fed. Number three, and we've talked about it, enlarge pre-K to include every future Sumner County School student. That's on you, Doc. I'll be looking at you. Number four, future board, those who are remaining on the board and those who are coming on. Continue the fight to provide the absolute best for the children. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Wise. Mr. Gregory?
Well, first of all, Mr. Wise, Miss Hayes, you had a wonderful idea that you challenged Mr. Daniels with.
Oh, here we go. I ain't letting 16-year-olds.
The winner has to run for another term.
The very same thing. I did the very same thing to Mr. Wise, and you know what? He wouldn't do it. He would not do it.
I like a sure bet.
The second thing, Mr. Wise, I was really proud of the young man you had here from Whitehall. The next thing, do y'all remember I think you call it export, which is the technology and sports that came down here and displayed? One of those young men got a full scholarship at the University of Virginia. I thought that needed to be mentioned. Similar to some of the things that's been said, when I first came on the board, there was a big divide between the upper part of the county and the lower part of the county. And after I found out that I was not going to have an opponent the first time I ran, I made the statements to people that I hope to help correct that. They said, you won't ever do it. I didn't have one person to agree with it. And it goes back to what Mr. Wise said. You build relationships. There's not one person on this school board that I don't consider a good friend. I mean that. And this county is far too large for me to know what needs to be done at Hendersonville High School or White House High School or Westmoreland High School. But you have to have confidence in the director of schools and the staff. I don't know how many school board members have been on here since I hate to use the word but first came, but one of them's here tonight. Mr. Don Lone. We made great friends that night. Made great friends. Another statement, and I will steal from you, that I have taken, I'm giving him a lot of credit tonight. He said at one meeting that you keep one eye on your district and the other eye on the rest of the county. And I have tried to do that. Thank you, Dr. Langford, for the nice comments you made. Appreciate that. And I really do credit Dr. Phillips and Dr. Langford for the great amount of energy, knowledge, wisdom, and being a great advocate of education in Sumner County. And every school board member up here, I feel like you're very honest. Sometimes we don't agree. I remember one night I was the only one that voted one particular way. I remember one night that Jeff Cordell and myself were the only two that voted one particular way. But I still respected him, if he wasn't from White House. I feel like we have great principals and great leadership in our schools. And I'm not sure if I made this statement or not, but how many school board members have been on here since? I asked Jeremy to look that up one time. He never has done it. It's about 20. It's about 32, something like that, I think. And I appreciate the staff too. This staff is magnificent. Magnificent. And I have been down here a few times during the middle of the day. And guess what I see? Everyone busy. They don't have time to talk. They're busy. It's been a pleasure to serve District 10. And the lady sitting on the back row back here will be great. Miss Penny Barnes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. I want to thank District 2 for electing me 4 different times. I don't know if they're crazy or they like me or what, but 4 times I've been elected by the people in District 2, and I sure do thank them for that, for having that confidence in me. I thank the board for electing me as your chairman. I don't know how long ago, because I asked Jeremy to look that up for me and he never did do it. So I don't know how long I've been chairman. Long time. Long time. But anyway, I want to thank the staff. You know, and I want to tell our new board members coming in, that staff is a great asset to you. You can call them and they will work with you any way they can. The one thing that I do want to say is they are not political footballs. They get up and they come to work just like we do every day, and they spend their 40, 50, 60 hours here to try to do their job. They're not here to hurt anyone, and they do the most fantastic job of any group of people I've ever seen. And it shows in all the accolades that Dr. Langford read down there. They're part of that. They're a huge part of that. So remember that, respect them for that. I remember the copy paper thing. Robin used to come home all the time and say, we're selling cookie dough to collect money for copy paper. We couldn't even afford copy paper when we came on in 2008. There's also been some other board members in the 16 years that had a lot to do with where we're at now, and I'll say, one sitting in the audience tonight. I remember the buses having to move when the airport authority decided that they were going to move fix the airstrip to where they could land jets there, and where we had the buses parked had to go. Well, there was maintenance department in one area, there was electrical department in another area, plumbing department. There were 6 different areas to where all the maintenance department was spread out, including those buses. The county commission allocated $10 million to fix that problem. This board got it done for $4.8 million, and not only $4.8 million, but negotiated. Don was definitely involved in that. Danny Hill was involved in that. Negotiated to them to give us back $800,000 to fix what is now our airport road property. So there's been a lot of great people on this board in 16 years, a lot of great things. We got rid of 70 portables, and I guess one of the most proud things that I'll ever be proud of doing, coming from an musicians union member and Teamster, is we got the unions out of the school. This board got that done, and they don't have that stranglehold on education in Sumner County anymore. Thank the Lord for that, and thank this school board for that. I thank you. Really, it's been an honor. Had some great friends on the school board, and I'll remember you. But from now on Tuesday night, I'll be texting Mr. Gregory to say, did you see the big puzzle on the Wheel of Fortune tonight? We text back and forth, make sure we saw the big puzzle. We always have to see the big puzzle. So I will be watching the big puzzle while y'all are hashing things out. God bless you all. Good luck to the new board members, and we are adjourned. And I'll say for the last time to Miss. Oh, we can't adjourn yet. Oh, okay. I always look at Miss Hayes and say, I feel so adjourned. So this will be the last time I look at you and say, I feel so adjourned.